Hello, on Jabs and Jigheads, and today we are predicting the fight tomorrow. Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois, both with a 95% KO rate. I'm using Alexander Usyk because he's fought Daniel Dubois twice, and the winner of this fight will probably fight Usyk next. And then I'm going against Joe Joyce because Joe Joyce is Daniel Dubois' only other loss. And yeah, Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois ain't in the game. There's not really many heavyweights in the game who are like to do with those two boxers. So I thought, just use these two fighters. Now let's talk about Fabio Wardley. He's 20-0 with one draw and 19 KOs in those 20 wins. He's the WBO champion. And nobody is really like hurt or like dropped Wardley, so it'd be good to see him against like a big puncher, because like Joseph Parker's not a big puncher, Justice Hooney's not a big puncher, Frazier Clark isn't necessarily a big puncher. Obviously, they hit hard because they're heavyweights, but nowhere near the level of like a Daniel Dubois, right? So it'd be good to see. Yeah, his best win is the Joseph Parker in his last fight, TKO in the 11th round. So it'll be good to see how he's like against someone who really throws bombs like that, like Daniel, like himself. And then Daniel Dubois is 22-3 with 21 KOs, and all three of those losses are by stoppage. So, it's not necessarily good when you're going against a heavy hitter like Fabio Wardley, who we know, even if Daniel Dubois hurts, has got that explosive skill and determination to pull it out of the bag and really like crack Daniel. But Daniel Dubois' best win is definitely Anthony Joshua. Philip Hrgovic as well is a very, very good win, but there's some like criticism on that win with the headbutting from Daniel, and Philip Hrgovic apparently not feeling good, but Philip Hrgovic's cardio in that fight was terrible. But Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua is known for obviously not having a good chin. So, it's kind of like a good fight for Daniel, No one really backed him, but like, it was a good fight for Daniel style-wise. And that Anthony Joshua, he kept trying to do the same thing, feint the jab to the body, throw the cross to the head, but he wasn't selling the feint jab to the body enough, and that's why he kept getting caught by Daniel. And so let's talk about what Fabio Wardley has to do in this. Or actually, first, let's talk about who actually hits harder. I think Daniel Dubois does hit a little bit harder out of the two, but he's got that like slow power. He's got like that slow, sluggish, but doesn't really have to put much effort in power. Where Wardley, I think he has more that like more explosive power. And where he's got that explosive power, I feel like it's hard to tell, because I feel like where Daniel Dubois, all of his shots are hard, the opponent's going to expect it. Where Fabio Wardley's got such explosive power, he can hit not light but like softer with his first couple shots, and then set up a really big shot that really catches people by surprise, and that's why he's got so many knockouts. So yeah, let's now talk about what Fabio Wardley has to do to beat Daniel Dubois. And I think it's just to keep moving. I think if he stays too close to Dubois, like in here, I don't think that is the plan for Wardley. I think he, like, don't get me wrong, I reckon he could win doing that, but I think for the easiest possible fight to be at this sort of distance where he can use his jab, but then all of a sudden, like, do what he does best, lean back straight right, or like a sort of slip, big counter shot. I think that will be his best, like, tactic to really do. Because I really like the his lean back. I think that's not enough heavyweight boxers do that. Now, what does Daniel Dubois have to do? Daniel Dubois has to keep that jab pumping. He needs to set up his shots. He can't just come in and throw one of these wild right hands like he did against AJ. He really, because if he does that, Wardley will just duck and throw that counter shot. Now, I also think he's gonna just have to move his head a bit more. I'd like to see that from Daniel. I think he kind of stays a bit stationary too much. You know, yeah, he's never gonna be a defensive fighter like Usyk, like Tyson Fury, or maybe not even like Wardley. But he can move his head more than he does now, and that's the main thing I think he needs to focus on. And lastly, what does Daniel need to do? He needs to perform on the night, you know, because there's been fights like the first Usyk fight, or the second Usyk, the Joe Joyce fight, where he's just sort of like not got on with it, you know. But then there's also been fights where he fought, I can't remember his name now, but I think he's Austrian. He fought Lawrence Coley on the Moses Atama undercard when he fought Dillian White. Daniel Dubois got knocked down, but then he got up and to get the stoppage. But he kind of like needs his corner to really engrave that in his mind. So it's really, I think it's 50-50 whether he really performs. And against someone like a Usyk, a Wardley, you really need to be performing. Like against AJ, he really performed in that fight. The best version of him showed up. But then, in his next fight against Usyk, he really didn't perform how he should have. You know, like he looked okay in the first round. But let's call a spade. When he got knocked down the second time, he could have got back up. Do I think Usyk would have still stopped him? Yes. Do I think it still could have been that round he stopped him? Yeah. But you carry on till the end. You don't quit like he has. Whereas if that was someone like a Wardley and he got knocked down twice, he would get up and go hell for leather. I think Daniel Dubois really needs to adopt that mindset that Wardley has. So now for my actual prediction in the fight, I reckon it will be a Fabio Wardley stoppage. I reckon Wardley will control most of the rounds. Daniel Dubois will win 1 or 2. I think Wardley stops him about... actually, I think Wardley stops him about the 5th or the 6th. Dubois... It's a competitive fight, but Dubois only wins like 1 round, honestly. In those first, like 5 or 6, maybe 2. But then I think in the 5th or 6th, Dubois might hurt Wardley. But then while Wardley's hurt, he knocks down Dubois and wins by stoppage. You know, where and I'm a Dubois fan. He is a bit of an idiot, Dubois. Let's not lie. He's a bit thick, but I'm a fan of Dubois. I picked him to win against AJ, you know. But I just think stylistically this is a bad matchup for Dubois, you know. And honestly, depending how Anthony Joshua looks in his comeback fight, I'll probably pick AJ. Because I think, you know, the AJ he fought, realistically, the reason I picked Danny Dubois in the AJ fight is AJ was coming off, what, 2 or 1.5 rounds against Francis Ngannou, and what, like 6 or 5 rounds against Otto Wallin nearly a year ago. That's shit. You know, you may as well be coming off a year layoff. You know, it's like if you fought Danny Dubois if it was Anthony Joshua instead of Fabio Wardley, I'd be picking Danny Dubois again. Because since that fight, he's done like 6 rounds with Jake Paul. You know? Whereas if AJ fights who he's fighting now, I can't remember his name, and then Tyson Fury, and then Danny Dubois, yeah, I'll probably pick AJ then, because he's active. But yeah, I think Dubois probably hurts Wardley, and then Wardley stops Dubois that same round, because I think Wardley is best when he is hurt. I think Wardley fights the best when he is hurt. Like when he got hurt by Parker, you know, and he kind of put his hands down in the corner, and then Dubois cracked him again, or not Dubois, Parker cracked Wardley again. Yeah, like Wardley kind of clinched and the ref separated it, and Wardley hurt Parker, and then the next round is when the stoppage happened. You know, Wardley is best when he is hurt. When he's like a hurt animal, a wounded animal. They are the most dangerous when they feel threatened or when they're hurt, and that's how Wardley sort of fights. You know, like, and he's always gonna fight like that. He's always going to be best when he is hurt, because that's how Wardley is. Daniel Dubois is always going to fight worse when he is hurt or when he's getting hit. Daniel Dubois is only a good fighter once he has either recovered from being hurt or before he is hurt. I think that's what will really show levels in this Saturday, you know? So yes, my final pick for Dubois Wardley is Wardley by stoppage in the 5th or 6th round. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.